So we pushed the limits a little bit this afternoon.
She was, just tantamount to being asked to go to what? Mach 10.
Yeah.
It felt like.
We'll talk about that now, but what happened? So Ryan and I, we normally sneak out before the podcast for 2 rather cold sparkling mineral waters.
And a lunch.
And then we rush back quickly for the podcast. Needless to say, there's one more of a roadblock going on Atlas Road this afternoon.
Yeah.
And that caught us up a little bit. So
Panic stations,
but we got you. So welcome. 99.
Yeah, 100%.
It was supposed to be, well, not supposed to be because we never committed, but we were thinking of maybe doing 2 episodes last week and then clapping number 100 today.
Yeah, look, I think that was rather
optimistic,
ambitious. It's probably the word, because I mean, geez, we've been so busy this week. It's we were talking about it earlier over lunch. I'm like, it's just madness. I can't believe it's Thursday again. We're going to wipe the fairy dust out of our eyes, and it's going to be next Thursday.
The weeks are blending into each other.
Sure.
So you say next Thursday. What's the vibe for next Thursday?
Listen, next Thursday, number 100, man. We've been looking forward to that for a long time, and it's a big milestone for us. And we've got our plans. We're going to obviously approach the podcast from a different vibe, I think. Take it a bit more podcasty.
I think next week has to be about us.
Yeah.
It has to be about us. We're quite proud about getting to 100 in the first place. So, we'll do a slightly different vibe. I'm looking forward to it. We've got 1 or 2 surprises or voices that you might recognize on the show.
Of course, yeah.
So I think I'm really looking forward to it. That's one of the reasons why I was pushing so hard to get it done this week. But there's a lot going on in aviation at the moment, and obviously the podcast is not the money spinner in our lives that we'd like it to be. So it falls down the priority list when it comes to getting things done. But anyway, we are here.
Of course, I suppose hitting episode 100 is a bit like hitting your first 1,000 hours in the logbook. Obviously the trend of late has been, you've seen all the guys posting it on social media, like 1,000 hours total time, 5,000 hours on top, 50,000 hours on 737s or whatever the case may be. For us, that's that one magic milestone, and 100 hours of this is no small feat.
Yeah, it is about 100 hours.
It's probably more than that, but of on-air stuff. But in preparation, it's probably double or triple that.
Oh, geez, on preparation. I mean, the preparation takes center stage when it comes to the amount of hours put in.
It's probably 5x, at least.
And there's been a few episodes where we've cut bits out, and so there's been more. But 100 nonetheless is a milestone for us. And next week, tune in for that. We very excited.
Of course.
No more excited than we were on Saturday night when I went to go watch Top Gun Maverick. You watched it on Sunday.
Yeah, I went on Sunday night with Gav, and man, what a thrill. That movie did not disappoint at all.
So if you haven't seen it, and we're not going to talk about what happened, but if you'd rather not hear any more about it, then there's plenty of other YouTube channels for you to listen to. But Ryan and I want to chat about it a bit because it was it was cool. And it brought back, there was a bit of nostalgia there.
Oh, man.
There was everything. It did not disappoint me. I was super, super chuffed to be there. I went there with my missus on Saturday. I went to Hyde Park. 4X cinema. Was it 4X? Yeah, 4X cinema.
4DX, I think is what they call it now. But, four-dimensional extra... I don't know.
It was legit.
It's proper.
It was legit. No, it was cool. And man.
Yeah, no, look, it was the same for me. I mean, also a bit of a last minute sort of plan where Saturday night was having a few drinks with old Gaverick. And we decided, screw it. Let's just book tickets for Sunday night and let's go and do it. And we went out, and again, it was like kind of weird because we spoke about it earlier. When last did we actually go to the cinema?
Ages ago.
So there was that experience. There was excitement of going to the movies again.
Yeah.
It was the build-up of going to watch a movie that we had been waiting for many, many years.
Mhm.
And then obviously, the opportunity for us to escape the house with, it
Yeah.
was like, for me, it was a bit of a boys' night out.
Yeah.
It was very cool. Yeah, I was like,
It was cool.
loved it.
Special parts.
Man, from the start to finish.
Yeah.
It's very hard to obviously.
You know what? There's quite a lot of comedy in it, but then looking back onto the first one, obviously, I watched that first one when I was so young, and then you keep watching it, but you don't realize that a lot of those bits in the first one are also quite comedic,
Yeah.
And it really tied in so well to that first one, and I think if Top Gun created a generation of aviators for our generation,
Yeah, this is the booster.
Maverick is going to do the same. It's like exactly.
Yeah.
It's the booster shot that is needed in this pilot shortage generation that we're going into.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, I think the first one, it focused a bit more on the romanticized a bit of a bit of aviation. It was all, hey, fight a pilot, you drive a bike, fly jets, get hot chicks. This was more about the mission, and
it was cool, man.
But it also wasn't like it was funny. I still said to Gav, it wouldn't be a movie if Tom Cruise didn't, score a chick.
Yeah. Penny.
Yeah.
You made a valid point earlier. We were discussing, because I said, but the one thing for me is that chick doesn't fit into the first one.
Yeah, it's not the same bird, bro.
But
you remember in the first one they mentioned the admiral's daughter.
Yeah,
because like old Maverick's got a reputation for pissing off admirals.
Yeah,
and obviously the first admiral that he peeved off was
Penny Benjamin.
So she features now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was cool, man.
It was magic, man. The whole storyline, the flying in the movie was just sick.
Jeez.
Hey, nuts.
I mean, you've seen it there in the videos when they go over that mountain inverted up. Yeah, it was really cool, man.
I actually said to you the other day, like, I found myself sitting in that 40X cinema at some parts. I don't know why, but like it almost felt like my hand was reaching for the joystick, like going up, like trying to push down.
Yeah.
It was.
There's an awesome scene. I mean, not giving away the story, but when Maverick is going through the valley, and you in that seat, it was cool.
What an experience!
That's the closest you and I have been to flying a
was
real aircraft for a while.
Yeah, it's the closest I've been to a fighter jet since I last flew the CRJ 200 in 2020.
And you didn't fly it like that?
No, I tried to, but I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah. It was cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
Go and watch it. It's going to be out for a while, and it doesn't disappoint. It's well worth it. A love story to aviation, it's been called, and that's certainly what it is. So well worth the ticket. Prices are quite expensive for movies these days, but well worth it in the end. Really, really cool.
It was actually it was. I'd been looking forward to that movie for so long. I didn't even look at the price. I just thought,
no, same. I mean, it wasn't.
But it was interesting to watch.
Going
some of the upcoming movies, that are being released in the next couple of months. Kind of like makes you like. There's some good movies coming up. And I'm like, I'll go again
to the cinema.
Yes, especially for that 40X experience.
The cinema's cool
with the movies that are on the way. It was cool, man.
Yeah, you go there, go watch the movie, go and have a chow afterwards.
Yeah,
I dig it, eh?
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
maybe we're just becoming buddies because.
Yeah, it beats sitting at home watching Coco Melon
or Peppa Pig.
Yeah, Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
but from some rather. Well, yeah, I suppose we can call Top Gun good news because it is good for the industry.
Yeah.
To some not so good news in the news about Comair.
Terrible, man.
Yeah. Comair, obviously, they've suspended flights, the Kulula brand and the British Airways brand here. And if you look back at when we started this show, it brings back so many sort of emotions and feelings, and I can only imagine what those employees are going through right now. Because you end up, hunting for news articles, and every time someone says something negative, you kind of jump on it, you take it a bit personally, and you try and fight this fight that is not your fight.
Yeah,
it's a horrible situation. And look, it's not the end of Comair. We don't know what's going on. It's not like not a done deal as to they're fully closed, but one can only imagine that with being shut down by the SACAA not so long ago, getting up and running again, now to publicly come out and say that you've literally run out of money to operate. How big of a blow is that?
No, it's heavy, man. And I mean, it's so sad for us because we've got a lot of friends that fly for Comair, that work at Comair, not only pilots, cabin crew, ground staff, everyone. And, the poor staff members, I get it. The public are inconvenienced and yada, yada, yada. But so obviously we feel for them. But there's enough, I think, slack in the domestic market at the moment that's picking up. I mean, other airlines are helping out and sorting the passengers out. But, my heart goes out to the crew members because it's just one constant, roller coaster ride of note. 1 minute you getting told, listen, we're actually back on track, we're doing okay.
Well, last week we were talking on the show about the fact that they're looking at expanding regional.
Yeah.
And then I read those articles and I looked, hey, well, that must mean that Comair's got a bit of stability now going forward. So then we even spoken about it in a real positive light to say, well, something to look forward to, and thank goodness we've got a strong Comair.
Yeah.
And then no less than 7 days later, you talking about the exact opposite, which is disappointing to say the least. Tommy Rotenbach's been on our show a couple of times, a good friend of ours, and he speaks with such passion about Comair, and it reminded me a bit about us with SA Express.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ever lie to someone and say I was passionate about the SA Express brand, but I was passionate about what they provided. It was a very tight-knit airline. Everyone knew each other. It was probably a lot smaller than what people think. I think not to dive into SACAA all of a sudden, but going away from the Comair thing, but it's a much smaller airline than what they've probably been given credit for in the media. The expense to the government is a lot less than what it's been made out to be. And Comair guys, I suppose a similar sort of vibe. It was a career airline. People went there for the long haul. They got in there, they stayed in there. There's seniority lists. There's people that have done really well, and bonds have been paid off at that airline, many of them, and they've employed a lot of people over the years. They're much smaller than what they used to be right now, but the potential for the future has always been big.
Yeah,
and I just find it very, very sad. I don't really even know how to comment about it or what to say.
I don't know. I mean, again, like you spoke about us and our time at SACAA. At the time we were wearing that uniform. That was our outfit. That was where we belonged, and
with pride.
The same goes for anybody who flies for any airline. Doesn't matter whether it's Comair, SACAA, Airlink, wherever.
Yeah.
As long as you belong to that community of people, you wear that uniform and that brand with pride. And when things like this happen, it does hurt you. And man, my heart goes out to the guys and the girls out there, because they've obviously, as a team, have collectively worked very hard to try and pick this brand up. Everybody wants it to work.
And you can imagine the people that are still there now are the ones that have committed to stay and to make it work.
Yeah.
And
it just sucks when things like this happen.
It sucks, man.
Yeah,
it really is. It's not a good situation, and it's not to be underestimated the impact that it's going to have. Going forward, those are very experienced pilots.
Yeah.
One hopes that a lot of them get employed by SACAA if need be, but the likelihood is that the majority of those guys find themselves flying with the other guys from Mango and whatnot in other parts of the world. Fly Dubai and Hong Kong apparently picking up again, and all sorts of places. Where they're going to go in South Africa, they're going to have to probably leave, and that is a sad a sad thing for South African aviation.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's where the bittersweet upshot to this is, guys. I mean, it's not like 2 years ago where you lose your job and there's like nothing available for aircrew worldwide.
No,
At
fair
least
enough.
now, albeit that you might not want to go overseas, what it goes, at least there's prospects. And I mean, overseas the opportunities are abundant at the moment. So yeah, I think the guys will be okay. They'll land on their feet, but the hope is still that Comair somehow manages to pull through this and come out on top. They've done more tricks than than some people have at a circus. So who knows? I mean,
yeah, we're not writing them off by any
No,
stretch of the
not by any
imagination.
means.
But reading that article for me, it was a tough one to comprehend because of everything they've been through, and to now have to come through this. Look, the South African flying public seem to be relatively forgiving. And
well, I'd almost argue with that because it's like a yes and no, because the South African flying public have been exposed to so many disappointments in this industry.
so they're
as of
used
late.
to it, that you know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think they've managed to identify who the brands are now and who the reliable brands are and who the sketchy ones are. And unfortunately, and look, don't get me wrong on this guy's Comair, but with all the ups and downs, the brand is starting to get a bit tainted now. And
Yeah.
it's seen on social media who people obviously prefer to fly with now. And this obviously plays more into their court.
No, it does.
Just saying. Being
does.
brutally honest.
It does. But even if you had to go buy yourself a ticket to Cape Town in 3 weeks' time, there's still people that if Comair is operational next week, they'll buy a ticket on a Kulula flight. They don't necessarily for 1 minute think that it's not going to be operational.
Yeah.
Whereas someone in the industry might say, well, hang on.
Yeah.
Let me stick with a Airlink, a SACAA, or a Lyft, or a Comair, for right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's unfortunately the sad truth.
If you got any opinions on that, then don't be shy to let us know. Hard one to comment on, because when a company stands up and says, we do not have enough operational funding to do our flights today, it's sort of saying we either are going to get the funding tomorrow or we ain't going to be flying again.
Yeah.
So,
look, it also came at a time where the fuel price has been pushed up so exorbitantly.
Significantly.
It's actually, the fuel price is stupid. So I almost wonder if it, I'm playing devil's advocate here, is it not a tact where they realized, looking down the line, if they'd even tried to operate with this,
is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Like, guys, let's just be the first ones to, call it quits. I don't know. I mean, pure speculation, but everyone is feeling the pinch, man. There's a joke going around that if your lights are off at home and your fuel light is on, you're in South Africa.
That's buss at the moment. It's wild, And that's what pisses us off today. You come back from our sparkling mineral water, and there's how many cops on the road?
Yeah, I don't know, like
500.
I
mean, the most elaborate traffic.
The most amount of policemen I've seen in a 500-meter stretch in my life. I mean, there were riots last year going on in South Africa where people were looting factories left, right, and center. There wasn't a cop to be seen for 500 kilometers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're here in
there's 500 cops within a 100-meter radius checking
license plates
on for tuners and rangers.
Yeah. On a road that's got I don't know how many potholes per square meter.
Yeah. Does piss you off, eh?
South Africa, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Whatever. Staying with South Africa, what is going on with all these GA crashes?
Man, it's actually sad. We're almost at I don't know, one a day at the moment. The last 2 weeks we've seen a Piper Comanche go down in Parys, which was fatal. There was a Cherokee from a flight school that pranged in Stellenbosch. That fortunately wasn't fatal. But I mean, aerobatic crash a couple of days ago in
Yeah,
Harare.
that was a sad one. I mean, yes.
Come on, man. What's going on?
Those aerobatic crashes freak me out. I've got like a phobia about watching an aircraft crash, and it just gives me I don't know. I don't like seeing it.
No.
But that one in Stellenbosch, someone caught it on
On video,
on video coming in, and
obviously a forced lob.
yeah,
Engine failure. And look, they did a great job. Put it down
they
on a
obviously
stretcher
fine.
road.
Looks like they would be fine.
Yeah, probably a few bumps and scrapes, but walked away from it, which is good. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, just way too many general aviation light aircraft pranks in the last week per se. That
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool. Very sad. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that aerobatic crash was from a very, very experienced, well-renowned pilot, Mark Sampson. So
yeah,
very sad.
Yeah, thoughts out to his friends and family. There was an article as well. Guy Leach wrote at the SA Flyer, saw it yesterday, and just spoke about the aviation industry and the fuel price. What 30 rand a liter of avgas at the moment. Needless to say, the GA industry, and you look what's happening in Durban with Virginia Airport and the uncertainty that's there. Virginia always been a sort of real strong point of general aviation and on the East Coast, and everything that's going on with all these prangs, it just doesn't look good for that side of the industry.
No.
I'm not sure. He did mention in that article as well that the turnout for the President's Trophy race, I think there were 35 entrants. I wouldn't know if that's a lot or little. He says it's a very low turnout.
Yeah, it sounds a bit low.
That's obviously evident of sort of what's going on.
Yeah.
And the one mention that is made there about the guys sort of manufacturing aircraft here in South Africa. So the guys from Sling, well-known name. So many of those aircraft are exported. There's not many of them that are sold here. So they're actually building those to leave the shores of South Africa. And I believe there's another one. Is it Rainbow Sky Reach? I might be wrong, but they built up sort of this part of the world. And I think something like 90% of those new sales are outside of South Africa.
Yeah. That's a popular airplane outside of the borders of SA. And it's doing well overseas, particularly in the States as well. So, yeah.
But not good for the GA side.
No, not ideal. But
Poppy Causa put out a letter, memo to the sort of leaders of industry to say, please, have a look at what's going on. There's been too many accidents. There's been too many sort of errors of judgment over the last, year or so. And please keep an eye on it inside your particular, business or sector.
Yeah, exactly.
So not good.
Yeah, I mean, you must wonder, like, what is the cause of it? It can't be due to the fact that guys are not current anymore. I mean, that's long gone.
Yeah,
guys have been flying general aviation. I think has been pretty active.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that. I just hope that there's something that the guys can identify that they can sort of, work towards sorting it out.
Yeah,
100%.
Other stuff locally, Ryan. Obviously, I always turn to you when it comes to the charter side. That seems to be, back on, where it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pre-COVID, even.
Yeah,
it's doing quite well. And any other news there?
Not really. It's just it is really ticking over nicely. I think obviously with the demise of another local airline, the charter industry picks up a little bit more because there's more people that are left stranded.
What's like Derek? I mean, Derek and Seko's made a comment here. So that ultimately the one loser is the South African traveler. So we've seen it before with these ticket prices.
Yes.
The less seats available, the higher the price goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was actually Comair was actually accused of being a catalyst of driving the prices too low, and that might be the reason why they find themselves in the situation that they're in right now. It's just been said out there, and I don't know. Maybe,
So were Comair trying to prove a viable business model, or
by
by
boasting too
having
much frequency and too little.
passengers, bums and
Yeah.
seats, basically, and that's what caught them off. But I don't know. It's been a long time. They were a big company. They had to get small really quick, and going back to it now. I just. But however, let's digress a little bit. I said to you before we started today's show, the one thing where, and I'm happy to admit this, and we've taken. I wouldn't say criticism is not the right word, because of the type of show that this is. I must be honest, we've had very little sort of direct criticism at us, certainly to our faces. I'm sure one or two little things on the side, but the one thing when we started the show and going back, early stages of 220 run, a big element of the show was us trying to be positive and motivational.
That's what got it started.
Absolutely. We both enjoy talking about that side of things. I enjoy the motivational side. We're not trying to do a motivational speech every Thursday for the podcast. However, it's an important element of the show that I think we lost our way a little bit with, particularly when, and if I can make an excuse for ourselves, if you have a look at the climate that we're in here in South Africa, a lot of the news that presented itself to us would be very hard to put a positive spin on it. Things like load shedding and, our airline not paying the employees and other airlines getting fat severance packages, but, us not. And you can be bitter about it.
Of course.
And I think it's important to actually put our hands up. I'll be the first to do it and say, I think we should not have done that. We should have kept a slightly more positive vibe, positive outlook, and a little bit more of a motivational aspect to our show. And I really want to bring that back. I really want to bring that side back. And I'm telling you now, that's what I am going to do.
No, I agree, Paul. And look, I mean, I think in the last, 10, 15 episodes or so, we got, really caught up in the commentary of what was going on, because for us and in our defense, I think we got quite excited about seeing the recovery and the growth. I mean, let's talk about it. From March till now, the aviation industry is it's just bounced back incredibly.
Yeah.
So for us, it was awesome, because everything that we had been positive about was actually starting to happen a lot earlier than what we thought it would. So we got caught up in the energy, man.
Yeah.
So of course, I think we do deserve a bit of discount for that. But at the end of the day, when things happen like has happened this week with Comair and everything, yes, we got to get back to doing what we do best and propping the guys up and saying, listen, things are bleak right now, but who knows? Next week the picture's going to be different and everyone's going to be okay, which is most certainly the case.
Yeah, everyone's going to be okay. That's the key aspect,
of course.
But I, in saying that, I enjoyed that side of the show. I enjoyed that being positive, looking for the angle that's going to get you out of this.
Yeah.
So we'll carry on a little bit with that. And we're actually looking forward. Next week, we're going to make a bit of an announcement on some of our plans going forward, how we're going to keep the show running. And I'm very, very excited for where the show's going. And so I'm very keen for next week to talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's a big one,
Yeah, 3 figures.
Yeah.
Moving international a bit, yeah. Chaos in Europe, particularly in the UK. That was coming, though.
Yeah, we knew it.
So now you've got a situation where government is going after the airlines and saying, hey, we bailed you out during COVID, and now you need to play your part. And the airlines are putting their hands up and going, well, what do you want from us?
Yeah, exactly.
So baggage handlers, they're not enough pilots and not enough cabin crew, particularly the cabin crew at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's just causing this major, major bottleneck. So what the government is saying is, how can you sell tickets on a flight that you think might not happen because you don't have enough crew? And what the airlines are saying is, after everything that's happened, how can you expect us not to sell tickets in anticipation that we're not going to sell tickets? They have to
Yeah.
They have to.
Everybody's like, what's almost like planning for the worst, hoping for the best kind of thing.
It's nuts. I mean, they've got to. Of course, they're going to sell tickets.
Yeah. Look, that's only being felt in Europe now. I think it's coming in South Africa soon as well.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's
Hard
coming.
and fast.
It's going to come to South Africa. There's no question about it. And the case of, if you look at, going back, not to try and keep a rhythm, going international and back, but the argument could be said, well, there'll be a whole lot of Comair pilots available now for the other airlines. The demand stays the same. It's not that people go, okay, well, Comair not flying to Cape Town anymore, so I'm not going to travel to Cape Town. The demand is still there. You still need the same amount of pilots.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether they're flying for 2 airlines or 1 airline, it doesn't matter.
Still there.
So that shortage, man, it's definitely coming out. But the travel chaos in the UK, I watch it with a little bit of, what did you morons think was going to happen? Get furlough pilots, send them off, cabin crew, and then try and get them back in your airline in this massive rush. Got to get the guys trained, ready to. Oh, it's chaos. I mean, EasyJet, they've only selling a certain amount of tickets on an aircraft so that they don't need that extra cabin crew member.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the 320s they're flying with. Yeah, I think the I don't know how many rows at the back empty.
Yeah.
Just to reduce that extra cabin crew member. It's not a viable long-term solution.
No ways. And I'd also be interested in that. Like, what do they think? Did they say, for instance, you got like, I don't know, 10,000 air crew, that get laid off. Now, aviation's sorry, none of you have jobs.
Yeah.
Did they honestly think that they were going to get 10,000 people rushing back to that?
No.
I mean, the percentage of people that will decide, well, screw that, I'm not going back to that sort of industry. It's got to be an attrition rate of what? I don't know.
That's pretty high. But then you've got the people that are there, that are working their asses off in that position, because there's now there would have been a couple of guys doing that job. There's now one person doing that job. Not just talking about sort of pilots. It's across the board.
Yeah, from the ground up, all the way. I mean, it's just aviation's funny.
Obviously, not just in the UK. It goes. KLM had the same issue. They even cancelled a whole whack of flights out of Schiphol Airport the other night.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a long-term trend.
I think so.
That article, I think I mentioned it 2 episodes ago, about what to expect when you're traveling. A valid article.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's an adventure now. Don't expect to get into the lounge of your choice. Don't expect to get into the hotel of your choice.
Don't expect to be on time.
On time. That hotel that you stayed at a few years ago might not be of the same quality it was back in 2018.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. It's a different world. Certainly a traveling world that we're going into.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of well-paid pilots,
are there still any of those around?
Yeah. This from RTA. He fell asleep while his first officer was having a kip during his planned rest. Did you see that?
I saw the article. I didn't read it because I just thought, you know what, that's clickbait. I mean, so what?
Yeah, but they got fired.
Yeah.
But
so he's obviously been overworked, underpaid.
But exactly. So this poor oak, he catches a bit of shut-eye. So they go and scramble some Eurofighters to go and see what's happening with this aircraft, because I thought it could be a hijack situation. And of course, the first officer's in the middle of his planned sleep. The captain sort of has a bit of a kip there as well. And air traffic control for 10 minutes tried to get hold of these guys. They put out a terror alert. And then, of course, I think, though, if you ever read of the article, the captain denies this whole thing. He says that the equipment on his 330 wasn't working, so the comm box failed. That's why I never heard. So yeah, but obviously, can we say we're going to hear or see a lot more of that in the future? I'll bet my bottom dollar that you're going to see hear so many of these stories about pilots falling asleep.
They're actually going to get tired because they're being worked to the max, and expect it. But there's no doubt out of that there'll be some new piece of tech that comes out of it. Like the guys will be forced to wear some sort of a watch that's got a.
This isn't Hong Kong, China.
like an alarm / like tracker / vibrating thing that stops you from
like a haptic feedback type of thing.
So it'll wake you up and keep track of where you are
all
over the world.
Well, I asked you the question now while we were out having a beer. I mean, Valpray.
Water.
They said, I thought this had happened before, but Cathay have mandated all crew members use an app designed to track their daily whereabouts, raising concerns over privacy.
Yeah.
So this app, correct me if I'm wrong, reading it here, is the first week of their 2-week medical surveillance period. Isn't it weird that part of the world is still like so bent over about COVID?
Yeah. No, they got to know everything. I don't know. Like, come to think of it, maybe they're approaching it from a different angle. Maybe they've seen a few guys bullshit the system, so they're like, we're gonna wash you.
But what is the story? They got an internal. It says Cathay crew got an internal memo.
Yeah,
and telling them that their activities are going to be monitored on the crew activity log app.
What a lot of cuck.
So it's an app that they've got, and
okay.
Bullshit,
so it's not like a piece of wearable, but the wearable technology will come now to stop the guys from falling asleep.
Well, a wearable, it's got to be in it's an app, so it's going to have to be in your pocket there,
Yeah, like a watch. The guys will get a free watch out of it.
I don't think so. They probably.
Oh man.
It's probably bonded to them or something. But not good nonetheless. However, there are still lots of South Africans that are desperately trying to get to Hong Kong because there are still jobs available there.
No, of course.
And Cathay they've started their whole hiring process again.
Yes. Yeah. No,
so for years, I mean, Cathay was one of the premier places to go and get employed. And
no, 100%.
People are going back.
It's the guys. Talk of the town is that the guys are excited about perhaps finding work back there, which is great. I mean, they still are offering fairly competitive salaries. The commuting thing is one thing to get your brain around. But whatever, it's still, I suppose, in some ways better than what's being offered locally in SA in terms of
what's
money.
Being offered locally here in SA. If you wanted a job today, there's probably one airline that you could get into right now, and which is that's more than what there was a year ago. I'm not complaining about that, but the scope of choice is relatively limited.
No, of course.
So where are you going to look? Where the Comair guys that could possibly be without a job now, where are they going to look?
Look, if you're South African, all indicators are you heading towards Fly Dubai if you can. Fly Dubai, Emirates.
It's so good to see some of our friends back at Emirates.
Yeah. The guys are back where they belong, and you can hear it in their voices. When they chat to the guys, they feel alive. They're like upbeat, electric again.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a huge thing, everything that the guys went through. But look, I suppose tongue in cheek's not the right way to say it, but where on earth are you going to go? And don't know.
Middle East, man. Yeah, unless, of course, you've taken a stab at the RC exams, and if you've got the passport and the ability to head to Europe, there's still scope there, I guess.
Europe's harder though.
It's harder to get into, but once you're in, you're in.
Once you're in, and then you're there to stay. But Ryan, next week is number 100. Let's talk about it a bit. We'd like as many people to come and join us on the shows as possible. So tune in next week. We always sort of wait till we commit to the exact time because of just to see what sort of Eskom's plans are for the week. But one thing you can be sure about is Ryan and I will be doing episode 100 next week. And we're going to make it a little bit different. We're not going to go too deep on the aviation side of things next week. But Ryan and I are quite keen for that show to get it actually done. It's been a long-term thing that we've looked forward to for a while. And so join us on that show, probably, hopefully around 5 o'clock live Thursday next week. But we will communicate the time as early on in the week as we can.
Yeah, of course. Look, we've been very lucky this week without any interruptions. So hopefully next week we'll be, just as lucky. But we'll definitely be here. And, week on week, we've been lucky enough to have more and more of our friends and followers join us, with their comments online. You can definitely see it's getting busier and busier on the thread. So no doubt next week will be a big one.
Yeah, I just want to say there as well, a lot of the comments that come through, for whatever reason, the comments that I'm able to bring up on the screen here on YouTube, it's not always all of them. I don't have access to all the comments. So particularly, I think if the guys comment on sort of, say, your Facebook profile as opposed to mine, it doesn't come through. And so we try and include the guys as much as we can. Last week was cool as well. Lesotho's Pride on the show. If you haven't seen that one, go and check it. That was cool. Jason as well. Great to see this whole bunch of loyal supporters, and that's what next week is all about. I love this one. When I saw your Facebook post, guys, Gatwick and Moose.
So Maverick.
That was very, very cool.
Yeah, I couldn't resist that one.
Gabe says he's got to go watch it on IMAX now as well.
I definitely would go and watch it again for sure on IMAX.
Yeah.
See my mate Thomas. Now you might remember him. He was the MC at our wedding.
Yes.
He's joining us today. Very cool. Marcel Damas. And obviously, I see Andrew corrected me on my mishap there. I said that prang was in Paris was a Comanche. It actually was a Raven. The one in Panorama was a Comanche. There's been so many of them, I just couldn't keep up.
Did you say Marcel Damas?
Did I say
You did.
I mean, Marcel Smith. Jeez, yeah. Marcel Damas, yeah. Marcel Smith, yeah. Marcel was a good friend from SACAA days.
He has a nice one from Duncan. Said, never heard a single word of criticism. Duncan, that's probably because they know that you mates with us and they're too scared that they're going to get on the wrong side of you there. So thanks, Duncan, for that one. But
magic, man.
Yeah. We're going to call it quits now. Save it up for next week.
Yeah. Next week's going to be a big one. So I've had fun today, pal.
Yeah, it's been a good one. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. The loyal support is certainly not unnoticed, and it is very, very much appreciated. We'll be here the same time again, hopefully next week. But thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take it easy. Have a great weekend.
Have a good,
Was it bye-bye for now?
Are you going to go watch it again? I know you... I'm
going.
I know. Gatwick and Moose are going again. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers for now.